The South Florida Times is speaking with Rev Joaquin Willis, pastor of the Church of the Open Door, located in the Liberty City neighborhood of Miami. Welcome, Pastor Willis. Tell us about the Collective Banking Group.
Elgin, the Collective Banking Group here in Miami, it's called the CBG of Miami-Dade and vicinity, is a part of a national movement of churches and faith-based organizations who are holding the banking community accountable. We're the 5th chapter now of about 6 or 7 chapters nationally.
And what are the issues with J.P. Morgan Chase Bank and the Collective Banking Group?
Well, regrettably, they have elected to discontinue their affiliation with our partnership. Over the first 3 years that we had an agreement here in Miami, the former Washington Mutual Bank was a part of us, and J.P. Morgan Chase, who acquired them recently, has decided that they do not necessarily want to be a part of this faith-based initiative.
And what was involved in the partnership?
What's involved is that those churches who are part of us, some 70 in number or so, weekly deposit money into these banks, and we are hoping to hold them accountable. Since we make these weekly deposits, we've started with the banks where we take our money every week. They are one of those. J.P. Morgan Chase, now Washington Mutual, was. A significant number of our churches invested in those banks and deposited. So we are now choosing to ask our members to bank with those banks who are a part of us now, and those are Citibank, Bank of America, Great Florida Bank here, One United Bank, and Wachovia, which is becoming Wells.
And what was the explanation or reason that J.P. Morgan Chase give for pulling out of the partnership?
Their policy prohibits them from entering into partnership agreements in a written form.
With anybody or any entity?
Reportedly any community organization.
And what will the Collective Banking Group now do as a result of them ending the partnership?
Well, we're going to continue to encourage our members to bank with those banks who have entered into agreements with us and have expressed a desire to reinvest in our communities in a tangible and visible way, offer us discounted services. Collectively, we've negotiated so that in many of these banks we have affinity programs where we get special and preferred status, since we are putting millions of dollars in those banks, as many organizations do.
Is the Collective Banking Group asking its members to withdraw money from J.P. Morgan Chase?
What we are doing is to be positive. We are asking that our members make sure that they invest in the partner banks that are there. Mm-hmm. We're not asking people to close accounts. We're just asking people to consider banking with the banks that we have a formal working relationship with. And we're looking at all of our churches to encourage them to make sure that they're banking with these 5 that remain in the collective approved body of the Collective Banking Agreement and Partnership Agreement.
And what is your title with the Collective Banking Group?
I serve as chair of the board and president of the chapter here, and I serve as the national vice president. The national president, Rev Jonathan Weaver, is pastor of Greater Mount Nebo in Prince George's County, Maryland. Actually, it's Bowie, Maryland. And he's been the president of that chapter and the national body now for almost 14 years.
If a church or a church member wanted to join the Collective Banking Group, what benefits would they receive and how would they go about doing that?
Well, a church simply has to make application. We have monthly meetings. We have an application that allows them to pay their annual dues. We ask every church to be represented by its pastor and to send a liaison so that we can equip them with the information that we're getting from the banks in terms of services and products that are available to our members. The purpose of this organization is to empower our congregants and help our churches. It's not just to help the churches do church loans or church buildings. We're much more concerned now about having these services available for our members to get discounted services on home loans, business loans, car loans, anything that they need on a personal and individual basis. Because as you know, Elton, the banking community has really been at the heart of this economic crisis that we're facing. We've known that for some 13 or 14 years, that this was an important issue, and quite often we just didn't give it enough time. Now, given this economic crisis, at the heart of it, we're finding is the banks.
What message would you like to send to J.P. Morgan Chase or any other banks who are no longer participating, or those who may not have ever participated in the initiatives of the collective banking group?
Well, the first message is we think that we should always be valued by any bank in this community. We're asking all banks, and we're just proud to say that the 5 that we now have partnership with, the presidents of those banks have met with us. They've dedicated key executives to act as liaisons with our organization. We have direction that we can take to local branches. We're excited about the relationship we have with those banks because it's a dialogue. Now, if there are other banks in the community who haven't entered into this dialogue, we think that it would be wise for them to consider talking with us, because we're going to stop talking about the economic crisis. We think it's time that our money talks now. And why take the dollars that we invest in those banks and invest it in other communities? So we're concerned about that. We want to see the dollars we put in being reinvested in our community, which is the intent of the congressional legislation that's been on the books for almost 15 years now.
And do you have a website?
Our website is under reconstruction right now, and we're pleased to say that another one of our partner organizations, Blue Cross Blue Shield, because we're not just worried about about banking, we're also worried about health. We see healthcare as another vital frontier, and we have a faith-based initiative now working with Blue Cross, one of the local hospitals, North Shore Hospital, and we're looking to see if we can blend our wealth and our health together. And through Blue Cross Blue Shield, we are now working together to get our website reconstructed to be a powerful, state-of-the-art website. So we don't have one at this moment, but we hope to have one very soon.
And how would anyone get in touch with the collective banking group via phone?
Well, you can certainly call my office, 305-759-0373, and I'm the pastor of the Church of the Open Door. And then we will have you reach out to our administrative officer, Ms. Tanea Tynes, who does our public relations, and I will forward the call to you and to her. I don't have her number right off the top of my head, though.
Okay. Well, thank you, Reverend Willis. For the South Florida Times, I'm Elgin Jones.